And welcome to The Issue Is. I'm Alex Michelson. About a month ago, we talked to California Congresswoman Karen Bass, and we were the first show to ask her about the possibility of being vice president for Joe Biden. Vice president nominee for Joe Biden. There's so much discussion.
Wow.
Are you being vetted for that job?
No, I'm not being vetted unless it's in secret and I don't know about it.
Well, how the world has changed since then. She's not only being vetted, she's reportedly on the shortest of short lists. According to the New York Times, she's one of the final two, along with Susan Rice. Bass has recently been endorsed by Dolores Huerta on the left and George Will on the right. Literally the only person in the history of humanity who's ever brought those two people together. Joining us now is Congresswoman Karen Bass. Congresswoman, welcome back to The Issue Is. First off, can you believe all this? And secondly, how much credit do we get?
You get all the credit.
There it is.
It has been a very, very surreal time period in my life. Reading so many stories, so I didn't know about that story. That was a fascinating one to hear about. Susan Rice, Ambassador Rice, who's just an amazing person, by the way, and a dear friend.
One moment that I found to be quite stunning this week was Frank Luntz, who's this longtime Republican strategist, was on Capitol Hill making the case for you to Joe Biden's face with you a few feet away. Let's play that.
The best person. I can't believe I'm doing this. She is so kind and she is so decent.
I mean, what do you make of this sort of coalition that's starting to come together behind you? On the one hand, CNN reporting that Nancy Pelosi is pushing for you, and then you have these Republicans pushing for you, and there's some that see that image and think maybe that could be the ticket. I mean, does it feel, even if you're not picked, like sort of your life's work is coming together in this moment?
Well, you know what? It absolutely does. And let me just tell you that, do you know I didn't know he had said that? I had no idea. I was not in earshot. So I didn't know he had said that at all. I found out later that he did. So that's part of it being surreal. But, I think it's just that I've always just tried to focus on the work. I've always just tried to focus on the issues. That's it. Everything that's happening right now has just been an absolute whirlwind, but 99% positive. It's a very exciting time.
So what would it mean to you, just to wrap up on this, because I know it's your favorite topic to talk about, the little girl version of Karen Bass, this thought that you are realistically now being considered to be the vice president of the United States. I mean, could you have ever imagined that as a little girl?
No, I can't imagine that as a big girl. I mean, it is still very, very surreal. But it is an absolute honor that people would talk about me in the way they have. I've read articles where they've gone back and found and interviewed people that have known me for years. And it's very emotional. It's very touching. And I think what I'm the most moved by is that people have recognized that my whole reason for doing the work I do is because I'm deeply concerned about the American people, period.
Well, let's talk about some of that work. One of the most pressing issues is the coronavirus. This week, the $600 in extra unemployment insurance that so many of your constituents have relied on is now running out. Congress not coming to a deal there. We know there's been some attempts at negotiations there, but what's the latest and what's your message to all your constituents that are really concerned about making ends meet right now?
Well, I just think that it is just downright mean-spirited because there was no reason for this money to run out. We passed the bill in the House over 70 days ago. And so the hang-up is that my Republican colleagues in the Senate really believe that people are not going back to work because they're making so much money at home being unemployed that they won't go to work. And they continue to deny that until we deal with the virus, we cannot get the economy back on track.
People that are struggling right now don't really care about the partisan politics of all this. They care about feeding their families. So what do you say to those folks?
Well, number one, I say they need to keep the pressure up on the Senate And that means phone calls, that means emails, that means social media. That has a huge impact, especially because the leader of the Senate is up for re-election, and his election is not a given. And so any amount of public pressure that can be brought. So one thing I want to say to people is that I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry that people are going through this. And I'm going to do everything I can. I'm not coming home. I'm staying here because I feel like I need to be here to make sure that we get this done. There's just no reason for it.
Finally this week, let's talk about Congressman John Lewis. You've said one day in particular was your favorite memory of the icon. It's a day that we got to spend together back in 2018. This is at the Community Coalition in South LA, which you founded to help youth deal with drugs. I interviewed you, the two of you together, and this is what the congressman said about young people.
The young people, our children, going to help us get there. Because they've been reading the words of Dr. King, that hate is too heavy a burden to bear.
What did that moment mean to you, and what's the most important lesson you learned from John Lewis?
Well, it meant everything to me to have him go to the Community Coalition and to be able, when you bring somebody that you've been talking about for so many years and he's there in real time. But I think the most important thing that I learned from Mr. Lewis was just his lifelong, tireless commitment and his love for the people, period. I don't care who it was, when it was, if a stranger came up to him and wanted to talk to him and wanted to take a picture, he would stop and he would talk to them. And you could just feel from him the love he has for the American people, people in general. He's just the humblest person, never went to his head, never stroked his ego. His eyes were always on the prize.
That's what he said.
And I'm so glad you had a chance to meet him.
Keep your eyes on the prize. It was one of the great thrills of my career, and it was also so remarkable to see the services this week and to see that beautiful service on Capitol Hill, which you were there for as well. Well, Congresswoman, thank you so much for honoring him. Thank you for joining us, and if you ever get that VP job, don't forget about us.
Thank you.
Good luck. Maybe next time we talk to you, they could be in that job. Who knows? All right, Congresswoman Karen Bass, great to see you.